We are live, Scott, and we're back again. You're hole punching, you say, eh?
Yeah. Okay. So, I know several of our listeners are John Byrne fans, and they've been watching. And I know that you and I have talked about this about John Byrne putting these X-Men pages. So what I've been doing is printing them out. I don't know if you can see this. I can't see my phone. If I've been printing this out 11 by 17 and putting them in this binder that I have,
Uh-huh.
and I'm behind, so I was going to catch up tonight, or hope to catch up, because it's just mechanical work kind of stuff.
Yeah, I kind of dig process stuff like that myself. It's you turn your brain off and you use a part of your brain that's just all about pattern recognition and rhythms and stuff like that.
Yep,
It's more like an athletic event.
it's muscle memory kind
Yeah,
of, or
yeah,
whatever. It's
yeah.
it's one of the things about my work that's really nice is I have the opportunity to do a lot of this kind of stuff because we are a manufacturing plant, and so occasionally they will need help packaging stuff. Or
Yeah.
my favorite thing to run is a thing called the jump ring machine. And if you're familiar with medals, like if you win a Olympic medal or whatever, they
Yeah.
have a ribbon on them, and the ribbon is attached with something called a jump ring, and
Hmm.
it's a foot fed machine, and you put one end in it, and it's got a big bin that holds these jump rings, and it just basically it's like a big stapler basically, but they come down and they just clamp on the thing. It's like this, and it just kind of clamps them,
Hmm.
and so you have to kind of pay a little bit of attention because you can jump ring your finger.
Yeah.
Uh, but it's I've always said if I had well, and I have, but if I had the opportunity to just go nuts at my work, I would build me a chainmail suit out of the jumper machine, which they would have a cow because that'd be a lot of jump rings.
Yeah.
But you could do that if you've ever seen how people make chainmail.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, so I am hole punching my large uh, uh, X-Men pages, John Byrne's X-Men pages. And by the way, my YouTube is doing relatively well considering I haven't recorded anything lately. I got 165 followers, so if any of them come from this, thank you. I do appreciate that. I'm,
Cool.
I've got I've got new content coming in. Man, the problem is I've just been so freaking busy lately.
The
You
water's
know,
been so busy.
I have been,
Oh yeah.
and I'm not sure why. That's the problem. It's like, just doing this and doing that, and it all kind of adds up.
I've just been watching TV.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I watched Catch Me If You Can, the old Spielberg movie today.
I love that movie, but the book is better.
Yeah, the book is better. The movie does have a kind of a tone and a mood that is so sad. They
Yeah,
managed to capture the sadness of a kid that's
basically ran away.
his mom and dad broke up at a kind of an age that we don't think of it as being a sensitive age nowadays. I don't think we're so used
No.
to families breaking up and splitting the minds of kids that are really delicate, really young.
Yeah.
And so he was 16 when they broke up, or
Yeah.
15.
Yeah. It's a great. The book is great. If it's by oh god, what's the guy's name? But
Abagnale. If
yeah.
you're having doubts about how to pronounce it, by the time you're done watching that movie, they make a point of pronouncing it about 50 times.
10,000 times. Yeah. Frank Abagnale.
Yeah,
It
Abagnale.
but but the book, for anyone that's unfamiliar with it, he lived outside of New York City. His dad ran a printing place, or something was involved in printing
Stationary. Yeah.
stationery, and so he kind of grew up around that. And this was back when stationery was printed. So his
Hmm.
dad was a printer. He did small kind of jobs, and so he was familiar with a lot of that kind of thing. And so he his parents break up, and in the book, he kind of cheats his dad out of some money.
Yeah.
His
They
dad,
leave out a lot of detail in the movie.
yeah, he cheats his dad out of some money, and by scamming, his dad gets him a car, and then he tells him, "Well, I don't have any money for gas," so his dad gets him a gas card,
Mm-hmm.
and then he realizes if he takes the gas card to the gas station, finds the right gas station, that guy will charge him for tires and all kinds of stuff, and give him cash, like.
Uh-huh.
And so he's basically having the guy charge his dad and then give him cash. But it was like, he'd charge him for $50 and he'd give him like, 25 or 30 or whatever. Yeah. So the guy was making out like a bandit at this filling station, and his dad was left with the bill. And ultimately the bill had to be paid. I think he threw it away when it first came in, and the charge card people, he was a big enough customer. The charge card people called him. And, they were, because he would buy like a new set of tires every other week.
Yeah.
And so what happens is his dad is kind of this milquetoast kind of guy. It's just like, well, he tells his dad, well, I did it so I'd have money to take out chicks.
Mm-hmm.
And his dad's like, you know what? I get it. And just pays the bill and goes on. And it instills him in this idea of there's no retribution for doing some of this stuff. And so then later his parents get divorced, and I forget exactly what precipitates it, but he ends up running away to the city, and he gets a job at a stationery store or something, some kind of graphic design, something or another. And but he's not making much money because he didn't have a high school diploma. And so he's like, well, heck, if that makes a difference. And so he made himself a fake high school diploma.
Ta-da! High school.
Yeah, exactly. And so then immediately he's making, a couple bucks more an hour or whatever. Yeah. This is in the 60s. It probably wasn't a couple bucks more, but it was more. And so then what he starts doing is forging checks. And he has trouble getting them cashed. And he realizes that he's on the street and he sees an airline pilot. I think this was in the book.
Yeah, it's in the movie too.
Or in the movie.
He's a paper hanger. Yeah.
Yep. And he realizes that people, pay attention, notice. Certainly in the 60s, they gave deferential treatment to airline pilots.
Mm-hmm.
And it was seen kind of a romantic occupation and stuff. And so he decides he wants to become an airline pilot, but he's not going to go to school. And he does a little research,
And that research was so ingenious that I remember myself. You remember in school, if you were ever told to send off to someone and ask an expert for information and identify yourself as a student, people just pour all kinds of stuff info-wise into you.
Yeah.
They want
to help.
Yeah. And so that's what he did. That's what he does. He goes out as a
and he goes to
a student.
Yeah, he does it. He says he's writing an article in a paper or a report or something.
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of plays that up, and he ends up breaking into, I think, is it United or Pan Am? I think it's Pan Am. Anyway, he gets a Pan Am uniform. He gets in the book, they gloss over a lot of this, but he ends up stealing credentials, and he figures out that he's not a pilot, but what he does is he passes himself off as a Pan Am pilot, and then he does what they call deadhead, which is, I'm a pilot, I'm stuck for Pan Am, and I'm stuck in Miami. I need to fly to, wherever, Washington, D.C.
He's a co-pilot waiting to graduate to pilot. So he's rarely put under any sort of pressure to step forward and know as much as he probably ought to know.
Right, and he's a little young to be a pilot, I think.
Yeah.
Even given his supposed age, he looks older than he is, though, which helps him. But anyway, the book is great because you read the book. The book inspired me to connive my way into San Diego Comic-Con.
That's a lot of what it has as a positive thing is like make your way, because a lot of life is just asking you, begging you to be
Yeah.
kind of bold.
Yep.
Do something. You know, change your world. Don't sit around and
Yeah. Don't be.
accept your world. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't bemoan fate that you didn't get handed the keys to something or another.
Yeah.
Make it, use a little ingenuity, preferably not illegally, but whatever.
But even there, just think how delighted people are with the anecdote that all great fortunes point back to some great crime.
Oh yeah.
I've heard that one many times, and in a lot of cases, it refers to. I'm listening to that 48 Rules of Power,
Oh
and
yeah.
it's if you were listening for it to get ahead of your fellow man and to club people down in some way, then I guess it'd be bad. But it's not for that. I feel like it's for the anecdotes about little historical things referring to these miscellaneous rules of power, like let others do for you rather than you work yourself as much as
Yep.
possible. And it's like, well, how many people aren't that smart? And then he has these great examples of poor genius level. I mean, we're talking about just practically Isaac Newton level of genius, if not greater, of Tesla, and just how, you know, what's his name? GE.
Jack Welch.
No.
Back
Uh,
Edison.
Edison, good God, it wouldn't come to me. How Edison, who was, just like nothing as far as intellectual uh, abilities compared to Tesla, just ran rings around him,
Yeah.
and just eventually Tesla's living like a bum, and
Yeah. Dies
Edison
penniless, I
has got
think.
all the money in the world,
Yep.
so.
Well, here's one of my employees kind of cornered me the other day and was kind of asking me about basically how to get ahead. And I tried to tell him that all he has to do is just if he wants to get ahead, or I gave him some of my thoughts about it, which
Mhm.
may or may not be correct or whatever, but but I'm his boss, so something's working, right? But I said, uh, you've got to project an air of confidence, and you've got to be the person that when stuff is going downhill, they call you, you know,
Mhm.
and I said people don't like making decisions. They don't like having to figure out what to do. I said if you can present yourself as somebody that has a little bit of confidence and a little bit of grit. At my work, they always talk about grit. They want people with grit as leaders. If you have some grit, where it's like, well, we'll just make the thing work. Because so often, I got a thing today at 4 o'clock, and it was the worst piece of garbage art from a customer I've ever seen. And they're like, we have to have this by the end of the day so that we can send it to the factory because the customer wants this product in 7 days. And the factory said they can do it. Well, I know if I send the factory that art, it's going to get kicked back. And so I just knuckled down and did it, and got somebody to help me with some stuff that it would have taken a lot of time that I needed to be spending, fixing artwork. And I just did it. And, that kind of stuff, people remember that and they
Mhm.
appreciate that. Be the guy that is indispensable. And, of course, then the problem is you get to keep doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to decide. I mean, everyone always says, "Oh, I'd want to be the boss," and it's like, yeah, I'm the boss, and then they made me, and my department was cool, and then they made me boss. Like they tripled my workload. It's like, okay, maybe this does kind of suck, but
Mhm.
but somebody's got to do it. I'm okay with it because, right now the company's trying to keep their head above water, and so somebody needs to do what they can to keep things going, and so I'm okay helping that. And if it works out, I'll be rewarded financially. And if it doesn't, I won't have a job anyway. So what's the difference? You know?
Yeah, yeah. That's the thing about the coming system. This system is so adverse to trickle down thinking because it comes from it comes from the Reagan era, the idea that there is such a thing as trickle down.
Oh yeah.
And like I've told you this before, I've never had a job that I didn't feel like was in some way or other trickled down.
Oh yeah.
That if people didn't have money and weren't prosperous, I wouldn't have the job I had.
Oh
And
no,
so, you work with people that probably are only in business because they're prosperous. The moment they hit hard times, you won't have a job.
Oh, I work for a company. I work for a company that was started 50 years ago in 1971 by a guy who was a coach, a basketball coach, and he
What was his name? Maybe it was my history teacher. Maybe it'll come back to me.
His name is Dave Smith.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm trying.
Sounds overly common.
yeah, but he this is pretty cool. I'm glad I got all this put together.
Yeah.
Anyway,
you bound it from the top?
Well, it's 11 by 17, so my hole punch and I got this deal. I don't know if you were watching. You probably were watching. This is a binder that's for 11 by 17 copies, and it's got a thing. You put them through here and you close it, and you're good to go.
Yeah.
So,
but, how's the reading experience of bound at the top?
Well, it's fine on your desk.
Okay.
I mean,
yeah, it's probably pretty good too if you want to break it open and copy from it, huh?
Oh, absolutely. I just open it up wherever I want. Well, I mean, now it's gotten so thick that it's, you have to kind of, but
you may have to get another one, split it in two.
I've got a couple more of these, so
yeah,
I may have to. It's pretty thick,
Yeah.
I think it's got 17 issues in it. But anyway, he started the company because he was buying trophies, and he was like, these are all low quality. He felt he could do better, so he started investigating, and he started making trophies, and that's how the company started. Got a big contract with Jostens.
Oh, Jostens, yeah, that could make you right there.
Yep, and definitely put us on the map. We, for a long time, and we were Jostens' biggest supplier of product. We did all their metals. We still do a lot of their metals. We bought one of the Jostin plants, actually. The plant in Princeton, Illinois, was going out of business. It actually got sold twice, I think. They were trying to sell it in the early 2000s, and it got sold to a Saudi Arabian firm, I think, or something, right after 9/11, man. Just poor timing.
Mm-hmm.
And just unfortunate timing, let's put it that way. And I forget the numbers, but we bought it for about a third of what it was sold for originally. So, but anyway, yeah, over the years he's made a company that does pretty good. And if it were not for him, and I mean, he's a millionaire, but there have been times where he's kind of kept the company afloat too. So,
mm-hmm.
Till 2008,
Yeah,
So,
the big, the big thumb in the dike is the guy that is the big money bags that everybody envies and then suspects is not sharing enough money. But it can go south for the big money bags guy pretty quick, like.
well, I mean, in this case, I can't speak for every situation, but in this case, he's the guy that took all the risk and started the company.
Yeah.
So every time I see him, which is fair, he comes to my office about once a week and talks to me, and I always tell him, "Thank you for keeping food on my table for over 30 years."
Yeah.
but he's very quick to be appreciative of all of his employees. The problem is sometimes people think about their only, which I guess is natural, but their idea is, well, the only way the company shows their appreciation is by raising my pay. The problem is you can't always take on that extra burden of more payroll.
Yeah.
I mean, trust me, there are companies that treat people horrible that pay them well, but everyone always wants to talk about, well, he's rich and I'm not, so he's screwing me. Like, well, he made the company, and I mean, for the first 10 years of the company, I don't think he took a salary. Put every dime he made went back in the company. So
the other thing I sent you guys messages about was the movie Candy, which
oh yeah,
it's interesting that the version that is on Amazon Prime is 25 minutes shorter than it was released at, which is a lot when you think about 25 minutes. That's an entire sitcom worth of time cut out of a movie. And they cut out an entire one of their main, top billers of John Huston. He's not in the movie, even though he's like second billed when the names roll up at the end of the movie. After Marlon Brando, of course, supposedly the movie doesn't get made unless Marlon Brando said, "Yeah, pal, I'll make that movie with you." He had
really?
He had a good friend that he said he'd make the movie, and that made the movie happen.
Well, I mean, that's Keanu Reeves, when The Matrix was trying to get made, they wanted Jet Li, but the studio wouldn't do it with Jet Li, and so they gave him a list of names, and one of them was Keanu Reeves.
Yep. Because if you can get Keanu, you got a movie. Yeah.
Well, at the time, they said Keanu, his movies, and they have all these statistics,
Yeah.
But it's like if his movies stay below a certain budget, they always make money.
Mm-hmm.
And, I don't know what the number was. I forget. I listened to a podcast where they were talking about it. And so it's like, okay, they brought him in and talked to him, and they gave him some books to read that talked about some of the philosophical things about the Matrix. And he read them, and he was on board, and everybody was hunky dory. And so they were good to go. They were.
They got the Matrix made. Yeah. Well, that's a movie that some people, I guess, got it on repeat all the time. I've watched it, I think, once.
Really?
And then I tried to watch the sequels and barely made it through the things. They're just so bad.
Oh, see, I like the Matrix, but I think the problem was, I'm convinced that they they made them intentionally vague and just and because I would go to conventions and they'd be talking and people would ask them questions and they're real cagey about how they answered them. And so I think they just threw a bunch of philosophical stuff in there with the idea of, it's deep, it has this deep meaning. And so then I think when the sequels got made, they were shocked and they didn't know what to do.
Yeah, well, and you also hear these stories that the so-and-so brothers had, they plagiarized a little bit from something, I forget where, but they supposedly had a story out there they based it largely on.
They were sued by some lady who claims that, but I mean, even beyond that particular thing, which I don't know how much merit it has, Grant Morrison is just insistent that they robbed, that they stole from the Invisibles,
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen The Invisibles and I don't see it, but I mean, I've read some of The Invisibles, I should say, but I don't think I'm smart enough to understand The Invisibles, so that might be the problem. Maybe if I were smarter, I would agree with him.
I guess I haven't seen The Invisibles.
Well, the Reddit, it's his comic series.
Oh, okay.
Um, but yeah, uh, and I don't know what he bases that off of, and other than maybe like aesthetics, kind of, or something.
The other thing I watched was it last night? I guess it was last night. And I was amazed because it's hard to sit still for a modern audience nowadays for 2.5 hours worth of movie. But I sat right through this movie, and I've seen a version of it before. The girl with the dragon tattoo, the American version.
Oh yeah,
With Daniel Craig. Damn, that was good storytelling. I really, and of
oh
course,
yeah, David Fincher, man,
yeah, David Finch.
or
Finch.
Is it Fincher or
I think
Finch?
Finchner is the artist. I think. I'm not sure.
No, I think you got that backwards.
I think I've got it backwards, huh?
I
Probably
think
do.
David Finch is the DC artist, I believe,
Yeah, you probably are.
and
Probably right.
and
Finchner. Yeah, you're right.
okay.
The alien. I'm just assuming you're right. I'm not looking it up.
Oh, some
but
might correct
it
us.
sounds right. Yeah, Finchner's the guy that did the Alien 3 uh, and the
Social Network,
yeah.
Zodiac,
Mhm.
Seven. Uh, I'm trying to think what else he's done. Yeah, he's pretty
Yeah,
decent.
yeah, he's a
Ha-
decent
Have,
storyteller. I
have you
saw
ever
an
watched?
analysis of his
Okay, yeah,
technique one time, and it's really cool. I mean, what he gets up to in terms of like manipulating you.
I was going to ask you if you had seen that. You're probably talking about Every Picture Tells a Story, the
Yeah,
YouTube.
probably.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep, yep. So speaking of Alien 3, I have been listening to, which by the way, we're reading the Bond books, and we're doing The Spy Who Loved Me. I say we for listeners, it's my one of my podcasts. We're reading the Anne Fleming James Bond books. We're currently reading The Spy Who Loved Me, and I'm listening to audiobook. Oh my gosh, it's dreadful. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to finish it, dude. It is terrible.
It's not held its own, huh? Or it's not held.
Well, he no, no, no. He wrote it from the woman's point of view, and I
Oh,
mean,
okay.
I've been listening for like 2 hours, and it's all like the woman. James Bond isn't in it, and it's all about this girl and how she meets this guy, and it's like, when is this going to turn into a James Bond book?
Well, I tell you what, when you start a book and you've got your own expectations of how it ought to go,
Yeah.
that always is a bad thing to carry into a book. That the C.S. Lewis book, Hideous Strength. I've got the other two before it, the Out of the
Oh yeah.
Silent Planet, and what's the
Perlandia.
other? Yeah, Paralandria, and you you go into that and you say, okay, now give me some more space adventure and stuff like that, and it just takes forever to get out of the goings on in a little Ivy League college. It's
Oh really?
yeah, it's all about someone starting their own little fascistic regime on Earth in this little town, a little takeover of this town by
Hmm.
this kind of like they kept Hitler's brain alive. There is an actual head that is in control of things that only gets revealed much later. And it turns into, after you're done with it, it's like, wow, that's one of the coolest experiences I've ever had. But it takes a lot of patience. And if you go into it, if you're trying to like speed read through your C.S. Lewis collection of that series, and you hit that one, you'll go, what the hell is this one?
What's going on? Where's the
Yeah,
space
yeah,
pirates?
yeah.
So you mentioned Aliens 3, and of
Yeah.
course a script for Aliens 3 was written by William Gibson. I don't know if you knew that.
I did not.
Okay, he wrote one of the treatments that was not used. It has been adapted as a comic, but I found online some at one in like '94, William Gibson, or his publisher, I should say, did an audiobook of Neuromancer
Oh, cool.
that was read by William Gibson,
Hmm.
and he sounds exactly like you think he would sound. But it's I've been listening to it. It's supposedly it's slightly abridged, but it originally was released on cassette. But anyway, I've been listening to that today, and I really dig it. He adds a little bit of authenticity to it. He has
Yeah, he's got a feel for, some other narrator might not even know what they're talking about when they get to some concept that comes up with, and it's like, he knows exactly what he's talking about, so it's going to
yeah.
flow out of him.
Well, he just has a delivery you when you hear the voice, you're like, oh, of course that's his voice. It's kind of, I don't know. It's not a professional talent reading it, obviously, but it's pretty good. I'm enjoying it. That is available. YouTube. It's on YouTube. But yeah, if anybody is interested in
William Gibson reading
Neuromance,
Neuromancer. That does sound good,
yeah,
and it's on YouTube. I guess that'd be a
it's
pretty easy
on.
search.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know how I stumbled across it, but I think somebody on a Tumblr linked to it. I was like, oh, I need this, so I copied it onto my phone and was listening to it today at work. I've about decided. Okay, so for the audience, I got the first, and I can't share it yet because I've been told specifically no, but I did show it to Ellis. I got the first page of my colors for Heaven's Rejects.
Yeah, that
So
was very exciting looking.
Heaven's Rejects is trucking right along, and you do this stuff and you work on it for so long. Well, this is what I was warned. I was told you work on these projects. It seems like it takes forever, but they were like, once you get it done and the hard work done, they go, it happens really fast. Everything will go really fast. Because I was complaining, going, man, this thing's taking me forever. I got to do all 4 issues before it comes out. They're like, no. Once it starts coming out, once it gets in production, this will truck.
Yeah, that coloring should go about easily 20 times quicker than your work.
No, yeah, God, I hope so. Anyway, so I got the first page of colors back, and did you think it looked pretty good, Ellis? I thought it looked pretty good.
I did. It had smart looking colors to it. I didn't think that they had some of the typical things that always turns me off about colors of using saturations, too many of them, and colors that are just not smartly selected, not blended down to a nice desaturated value, at least in a lot of it, because you need that. You can't have everything popping. And so they got nice, smart, well blended down colors that look good, but it's not blended down to the point of they aren't gray.
Monochrome.
Yeah.
No. I think it looks really good. There was she picked up on a lot of cues that I put in the story or in the art.
Is anybody a color that surprised you that she picked? I mean,
no.
Anybody end up like I noticed somebody was very red.
Oh well, that's a demon.
Okay.
She's supposed to be red.
Okay.
I think the writer's given her notes on. The writer hired her and is handling that end of it. But I'll tell you the one thing that surprised me, and if anyone's seen the pages while I've been drawing them for the last couple of years, it seems like uh, the main character. Okay, so Heaven's Rejects is three angels that get kicked out of heaven, and they come to Earth, and they kind of they fight supernatural menaces on Earth. It's like, if you're familiar with the old TV show Charlie's Angels. In Charlie's Angels, they were in the police academy, and they didn't get kicked out, but they got menial. They weren't treated like they should be. So they got out of the police academy, and then they started working for Charlie, and that's what the and so the pitch to me was, it's like Charlie's Angels, but they're real angels. So so but we made it like the main character is a black woman or a black angel or whatever.
Hmm.
And so I've been drawing her with, I don't know if you could say black features, but I mean, I drew her like she was African American.
Hmm.
But I drew her in pencils and inks, so I kind of not really lost track of that. But then when I saw her, I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot she's black.
Hmm. Yeah.
But I thought the colorist did a really good job of that. And then in the one page, I envisioned her wearing some sort of a shiny dress. I didn't really think about what color it was. I just, and she drew it as kind of a gold lame dress, or she colored like a gold lame dress. Now I put metallic highlights on it, but she picked up on that. And I thought that was pretty cool. If she keeps doing that kind of stuff, I'll be very happy. But,
Very neat. Like I say, some big jerk has checked in, said hi, folks. Hi,
hey,
Gene. Good to see you.
but anyway, so that is happening. But I'm gonna have to do some. I need to paste the lettering back in there, but I need to talk. I haven't got it. That page I got was low resolution. I need to talk to the production guy at Source Point Press and find out what resolution I need and what I need to do. I've got all the lettering done. It's all set up. I just got to put it all together. So that like
I'm
a
not
little bit
drawing
of.
worth a dang tonight. I
Um,
haven't had a single drawing I enjoyed
Me
come
neither.
out of me.
I'm So in the meantime, I've decided I'm going to work on my own comic. I don't I I mean, I've talked to people. Several people have approached me about doing something for them,
Hmm.
and I've been offered page rates and part ownership and this and that, and I don't, and I think I've just decided I just want to do, and I think I'm gonna do a black and white book. I'm gonna put some zipatone on it. I just want to do. I may even like do an ash can and just sell it myself. I don't know, but I want to do a comic, and so I'm gonna do. I don't know the title, but I'm calling it Project X. The project is spelled PROJEKTX, which I discovered as that is the Swedish name for the X-Men comic. I think it's Sweden, or maybe it's Norway. Anyway, somebody in a group I'm in, somebody posted, a John Byrne group, somebody posted, and I thought that is the coolest, Project X. It's like I'm still in that. It may not be the title, but that's what I'm calling my book for now. And it's going to be, I don't know, something superheroes and something. I don't know if it'll be straight. It probably be straight up superheroes. I've got this idea. I've got some ideas. Let me put it that way.
I had an idea. I could write it for you, and you could do that. I'm kidding you. I'm being like Nasser now.
Yeah.
I got an idea.
Well,
Here, I'll write it up for you, and you do that.
he may be on.
Yeah.
But well, I talked to him about working on something, but I don't think I was right for the story he had.
No, he was pretty tickled that I liked that script, that he shared that with me, that he wrote. And I can see a little bit what he's saying, that, you know, I told him that considering how hot the stories to tell in the dark are, that him interpreting a take on something that's obviously derived from it would cause trouble, would cause him financial woe, or legal woes anyway. I don't know if it'd get him in his pocketbook or not, but that sort of thing, you know, you could avoid that just by realizing it could get you.
Yeah.
And but he makes a good point that you know, it is supposedly stories that are based on tall tales and urban myths.
Yeah.
So in other words, the stories that appeared in the little paperback are based on things that supposedly got around. But I've never heard that Big Toe story. I've never heard that as an urban myth or anything like that. That seems like a fairly original idea.
Well, you know, when I was talking to him, I was telling him a story that I had heard, and he was telling me, "Oh, that story's in there." And I know the people that I heard it from did not read it in that book. So there is something to the idea that stuff is floating around.
Yeah.
My big thing was it just wasn't the right project for me.
Yeah. No, you would have been a good match for it with your zombie capabilities, that you make money at cons drawing zombies, asking people if they'd like to be zombified. It's like caricatures if you want to be a zombie, you know.
Yeah. If they ever have cons again.
Yeah, well, that's
true. I'm out of the zombie business.
You decided no more of that, huh?
Nah, no more of that. I don't. Yeah, but we'll see. I may change my mind.
Well, you made pretty good money at it at one time.
Yeah, one time I did okay, but the money tapered off though. I don't know if I saturated the market at this particular con I was going to.
Yeah, well, that's the reason I quit going entirely. It's like, I've done this. I've been here. You past a certain point. I think I finally quit about number 4. It's like, okay, I've done this.
Oh yeah.
This is my last official con, and unless I change cities or something.
Well, I'm hoping that with so the issue 1 is at the Colorist. Man, I'm hoping. Of course, we're not on the schedule, but dude, I would love for the book to come out San Diego this year. Assuming there is a San Diego this year, that would be phenomenal. You know, and see if I get my little ash can done, my little Bronze Age comic book ash can, print copy thing. I can sell it at my table.
Speaking of ash cans, I am so glad you turned me on to boiled angels. That was a lot of fun information by a guy that he was way too young to even connect to the era of undergrounds. He was just inspired by everything that had gone on before, and his period that he showed up in was the period that I would have been showing up there at this Comic-Cons at my peak at San Diego. He was in the 90s. 95 was my peak year, man. I was there trying to hawk my little book I had printed and everything like that. For all I know, who knows, maybe I wandered by his table and picked up one of those things. I don't know. Because I don't know
if he ever at San Diego? Did he go to San Diego?
I don't know. He's mainly a Florida guy, right? I know that, but I would think you'd get kind of like out and about if you had a little something like that to sell, but maybe not, because I think mainly he was mail order. That's where he got in trouble. He was mail order.
Yeah,
he'd send it to anybody he thought was wanted it, and even if you're a cop, he'll send it to
Well, he got. What's funny is he completely got railroaded. But I mean, I thought the whole thing was a bunch of crap.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, it was. I mean, it's interesting how candid the guy that did
arrested
everything
him.
to him. Yeah, the old DA, man, he just had a smile on his face the entire time. He related all
Yeah,
the
and he was
tales.
like, in hindsight, we were probably a little too aggressive.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's like,
And
oh, kind of
it's
funny.
like, yeah, it's like,
Funny to
dude,
think about.
you screwed up this guy's life.
Yeah,
He was
yeah.
ordered not to
Well,
draw,
well,
but it worked out for him.
that's the point. He can almost give him a big kiss for arresting him. He's got the
Yeah.
moniker of the only guy that's ever been artist arrested for obscenity in America. I mean, just think how much that's worth on the old lecture tour and
Yeah.
the museum circuit.
Yeah. And his art is not good.
No, that's what's funny. You're talking about art that is basically what you see on the bathroom wall.
Oh, yeah.
It is just straight up stuff that makes you laugh for being so vulgar
Oh,
on the
yeah. That's the
bathroom
thing. It's
wall.
so over the top that
Yeah,
for anyone to take it serious was funny.
yeah, yeah.
But just but I think it was Neil Gaiman who said, because Neil Gaiman's on the board of the Comic Book Legal Defense Fund, and he said, he was disgusted because there were people on the board that looked at it and they were like, we shouldn't waste our money defending this guy because he's not a talented artist.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it's like, he's like, wait a minute,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
not for us to judge.
yeah.
We don't say we're the Comic Book Legal Defense Fund if you're,
If
Frank
you're
Miller.
good, if you're good, yeah.
Yeah, those aren't the guys that need our help anyway. You know.
Hey, Natasha International says, evening. I watched a
Good
video you
evening.
both might be interested in. It's comparing the Terminator series to an old Greek story of Minotaur and the Maze.
Oh, wow,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. You know what? I'm really getting the itch to go back into, that lady that wrote the definitive book. It's just called Mythology. I forget her name.
Oh, Edith Hamilton.
Yeah, Edith Hamilton. Yeah, I
I
tell
may
you
have.
what, page after page of that is like, man, I could do a comic book on that. I could do a comic book on that. And you got to know that's exactly what Stan Lee is, and Kirby. I think both were very conversant with their
Mythology,
their
Greek
mythology.
mythology.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got that. I've got that book around here. I think I got it at a thrift store.
You
Thrift
know
stores
what?
play.
The library's got it, and I've got it sitting around waiting to be listened to. They've got it on audio tape.
Oh, do they?
Hmm.
I think I've checked out the audio book of that, and I think it was not good listening.
Oh, it's not. I
Well,
hate it
I
when
got.
sometimes they can be overacted. There can be all kinds of things wrong with an audio book.
Yeah. And sometimes people catch me the wrong way, and it's like, okay. And then other times, like, oh, this person's fine.
Yeah.
It's more my problem than theirs necessarily, but you know,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, someone was screened and vetted, except for some of these some of these LibriVox recordings are pretty
oh
awful.
yeah,
But that's like almost like volunteers there.
oh yeah, yeah. You're just grateful that you got somebody.
Yeah, yeah. Just read this old science fiction story for us.
In your
Tell
spare
some guy
time.
that's got some sort of like speech impediment to say, "You think you can do this?" It's like, "Oh yes." Yeah,
Yeah, I can do. I'm all.
I couldn't whip out a speech impediment right at the moment, but
It's
you
for the
get it.
best.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
for the best that you don't. We don't need
yeah,
that kind of heat
yeah,
on us.
yeah.
But
Well, I
yeah,
say I couldn't whip out a speech impediment. I am a nonstop speech impediment. What am I talking about?
well, you meant on purpose.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. One different from mine. Yeah.
Gotcha. But yeah, I'm pretty happy about that. The comic is getting colored. you know, gotta get to the point of this stuff. You're like, is this ever going to come out? What, you know?
Oh yeah, that's going to happen. It's seeing your work in that. I'm really struck by how many times I have seen people's work that just comes alive the moment it gets just a little extra collaborative. My own stuff, when I was working in 3D, I'd do what I
Yeah.
thought was a pretty good 3D model, and then it would get rigged to where it could move. And it's like, oh my gosh, I'm the magic man, because someone else had come along and done their bit to it. It was like,
Yeah.
wow,
Made
how
it really
cool.
pop.
Yeah, I mean, and plus it was stuff that seems like magic to you that you got no idea how they managed to do it.
Yeah. Well, and honestly, that's why I wish I had an inker. I think an inker would be great.
Yeah, an inker probably would have really been just another thing to pump your stuff up.
Well, it would have helped production, obviously,
Yeah, yeah.
but it would have. But I think if I found that there's a guy that I've been talking to that I'd like to have him ink my stuff. Um, but I'm not working on anything right now necessarily. So, you know, except for my Project X,
Yeah.
which has gotten nowhere. I'm gonna write up a story over the next couple of days and do thumbnails and start thumbnailing it. And I'm gonna do. Have you seen the comic cartoonist kayfabe uh, where they? Do you watch cartoonist kayfabe?
I do not. And I guess I need to start. I need to watch something on YouTube that's a little easier to take than some of the stuff I watch, because some of the stuff I watch is kind of works me up.
You don't need to get worked up. There's nothing for you to get
Yeah,
worked up
well,
about.
I quit coffee
Oh, you did?
again, and I tell you what, I think the instant has got more caffeine in it. This time was a lot harder to quit than the other time I quit. The other time it was a cinch. This time I woke up a couple of times from naps, for just having to take a nap is one of the symptoms. But then waking up from the nap, I had one of these headaches that aren't splitting headaches. They're more like
Oh, yeah. I've had those.
more like hey, I'm dumb now headache
Yeah.
kind of thing.
You're gonna quit me. Well,
Yeah,
I'll show you.
yeah.
The yeah, a few years ago I switched from regular coffee to chicory coffee, and chicory coffee is what they drink in New Orleans. It's stronger, but it uses chicory beans and coffee beans, so it has less caffeine.
So it
And
does have less caffeine. Okay,
yeah, and I feel better, but boy, it's an acquired taste.
I bet. That's the one of the things that's hardest to when you realize as you're drinking your milk. Wouldn't this be good with just a little sip of coffee between big gulps of ice cold milk?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I did it because my blood pressure was kind of creeping up,
Hmm.
and so I thought, well, and my doctor said, well, cut back on coffee. You should be okay. 'Cause it wasn't that high, and so I said, well, instead of cutting back on coffee, I'm gonna switch up because I read that chicory coffee had less caffeine, and so I switched up. And the first thing I noticed was I wouldn't lay in bed and get that fluttering in my chest like I did. It's like, oh, maybe my heart isn't supposed to be racing as I'm trying to
Yeah.
sleep
Yeah.
or
Caffeine
whatever.
is powerful stuff. I'm missing. Like saying, I don't know how long it'll last, but my past 2 or 3 days, I've been missing the spark of some part of life has gone missing for me.
Oh yeah, like the old coffee generation commercials.
Yeah, yeah.
The uh, I forgot where I was going. Anyway, oh, cartoonist kayfabe.
Okay.
Watch cartoonist kayfabe, specifically. Look for the one where they talk about Steve Rude's sketchbook.
Okay.
And the reason why there's something specific I want you to watch for, because they taught in his sketchbook, which I have one. Hang on, let me pull it out.
Okay.
So, hang on just a second. Oh, I got it right here. So this is the book that they talk about on Cartoon Kayfabe. I have mine signed, by the way. But they talk about. Let me see if I can find it. Which is a great book, by the way.
Oh yeah. He's
Uh,
basically doing his Andrew Loomis
oh
all the
yeah.
way through it. He loves his Loomis.
Well, he does all kinds of stuff, but I'm looking. There's a page. Oh, here. Okay. So this is his thumbnail, a page of his thumbnails,
Mm-hmm.
and they talk about this, and then I think it's Jim Rugg, but it may be the other guy, shows his thumbnails. And I've never done thumbnails this small. I've done pretty small, but he's like, I forget the number, but he had it worked out to where you could do like so many. But anyway, my point is, on my Project X, I'm gonna do thumbnails.
Uh-huh.
That's my next thing. I'm gonna write a quick and dirty script, and then I'm going to do small thumbnails, but deliberately
Making
complete
them too
thumbnails.
small. Making them too
What?
small. It makes it all
Well,
big shapes. Yeah.
yes.
You're just composing. You're just saying what is in this and what is important, and
I'm,
is it arranged in a way that guides the eye? You know.
oh, yep.
The ultimate I saw on that recently. Whoa, I just had that at the top of my head. Now I can't. I was just wanting to tell you all about it.
Oh,
Oh well,
no.
and then it's just like gone. It'll come back to me later.
Well, anyway.
Well, anyway, we're almost at an hour.
Oh, are we?
Yeah, close to it.
Okay.
Oh, you
Cool.
ready to quit?
Yeah, we can quit.
Okay.
You gonna say something, or should I say something?
No, it's just one of those things, when you forget something like that, it really bugs you. And then you realize, like you said last week, it's like you can't bring it back once it's gone. It's like
Nope. Once
it's out of there.
it is gone. Anyway.
Well, so go ahead and anything you want to tell people to watch for or do.
No, I mean, if you haven't followed me on YouTube, I'd appreciate it if you'd follow me. I've got a few reviews of stuff up, and different videos. I'm in the process of working on more content. I want to do a review of Marvel drawing comics the Marvel way, with some supplemental material, specifically some comics that talk about some of the lessons you can learn from that, and why I consider that a very important book, despite its age and despite the fact that unfortunately no one in the mainstream draws like that anymore. That's kind of the next thing I'm gonna record for my YouTube channel. Anyway, what were you gonna say, Ellis?
I remembered what I was going to say about thumbnails. It's just that I've been doing a little bit of thumbnails with a rake tool, which won't let you draw anything. It's a bunch of lines side by side that
Oh yeah.
that gives you 8 lines at a time when you touch it with your stylus, and that just totally forces you to draw shapes, and that's a big help. And then I come along, just ink straight out of that. It's like, okay, I've got enough information there. I can see exactly what I want to do, kinda, and I just pulled it out of the cloud that way.
That's cool.
Yeah, I'll check out that kayfabe. I haven't been watching enough of those.
Cartoonist kayfabe. You know who they are, though.
Who are they?
No, I mean, you're familiar with their podcast. I mean, you've seen it,
Well,
right?
I've heard the term, but I guess I probably haven't watched a single one. I don't know.
Oh, dude, you're missing out. You would like them, I think. You'd like them a lot.
Very cool.
Let me know if you can't find them. I'll send
Oh,
you a
I'll
link.
find them. I'm sure. Probably just
Okay.
that easy, and I will look that rude episode up. Okay, well, thanks everybody for stopping by.
Yep.